Hello everyone, my name is Christine and we are continuing our series where we are playing around with Claude Code as we build a subscription web app. And where we left off is we had, actually, if we were to recall what we did last time, we were able to very quickly get Tailwind set up and also able to get our source control all ready to go. And it's always handy when we have our implementation plan to see where we left off. So we were about to go into phase 2 where we are setting up the TinyBase store. So let's go ahead and do that. And we have got our handy Claude Code up and running. And where we got it going, we have ready to set up TinyBase for in-memory management. I am just going to clear the context. I'm curious, how much have we used? $1.65. It came back pretty pricey. So let's clear the context and start from scratch. And I'm just going to say, let's install TinyBase for in-memory state management. And we want to use schema-based typing so we get that TypeScript support. And I also wanted to use Context7, so hopefully it gets the latest documentation. Again, this is because the knowledge cutoff might be a little bit far away. All right, say yes to proceed. So it's reading the information from TinyBase, and from Context7, fetching the latest and up-to-date documentation, and it's getting some information, some good code snippets that it can use. You can also check its own database and knowledge cutoff. So here it is. It's going to install TinyBase, and let's see. Hopefully it'll also add the ones with React support, because that's actually pretty crucial. It's always good to go to the place where you're actually going to got the information from. So we've got information for TinyBase in here, database like install memory. It's got some guides and documentation that's really useful, including like what you need to do to build the UI as well. All right, so back to where we were. It has gone ahead and it's starting to get the information together. It's rolling really fast. It installed TinyBase as well, and then it's looking to create a basic schema file for our store. Looks good. I'm not an expert, but actually I've seen this before and this looks kind of right. So let's say yes. Let's go ahead and create the schema file. And we'll look at it in Cursor to see how it's chugging along and working on this as well. So here it's changed some files. You can see what's changed based on source control markers, and it started to work on the store as well. Do you want to create? Yes, I do. Persistent browser. I do want to create it with local persistence. Let me check to see if that's actually the right code base. So looking at the browser and looking at persistence, it's got information about database persistence, and if we're doing things locally, that's probably not where we want to go. I'll go check and find the right place and come back. It looks like it seems to be doing the right thing from looking at the documentation. So as we go back to to Claude Code, it's creating a context provider. You know what's interesting? I've tried it a few times, and every time it seems to create code that's slightly different. But we'll see. So it's going ahead and churning and creating all the code that we need. Now it's creating some hooks. That is good. Again, I can look at it, cursory check. I'm not an expert, but if you are, and you should be, you can then figure out, yep, let's go ahead and accept that. But it looks like it's doing things with schemas, so that's encouraging. And now then it's going to update the main app entry point to use a TinyBase store. All right, so it's made a bunch of changes in here. wow, looks like it's added code to actually put the UI together. Let's go ahead and accept that. We are basically going to say yes. And if the app runs, then we know we're good. If it doesn't, no. And I like that it's running type check. Let's do yes. That way it can fix any errors that are found there, which is always a good thing to do. All right, so it's basically added some type checking here. So, all right, we've gotten some of the fixes going. Making some changes to that as well. And then making some additional changes. YOLO, just gonna accept. And we'll come back when all of these are done, because it's basically cycling through and fixing a lot of the TypeScript errors that it found or during the check. Well, coming back, Claude was a real champ. It went through and run type check after type check after type check, and then automatically fix them at this point. It thinks that we're good to go. I'd like to actually take a look at the code a little bit and see some of the things that it did. So here we've got the stores. It created the schemas for our data, for TinyBase data. It created some information as well here from some of the store content. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. There is one thing that I found as an error, compiler error in here. It's going to change this. This shows up if somebody out there is an expert, but I just basically take that out and we should be good there. But now we should be able to actually get the app running, and the app is running. I'll just start it again just for kicks. And as we do so, we should now go to our browser and see it. So if we go to the browser, okay, it looks pretty good. It's got my subscriptions, show test form, upcoming renewals. This is a good first step, and it was pretty quick to get it up and running as well. One other quick point of housekeeping, I had mentioned before that it's always good to keep your preferences file up to date. So that's the memory, the Claude Code. So I'm just going to add something in here related to what we might want to do for the front end in case it ever needs it in the future, so it doesn't spend so much time cycling. So I just say, always look to the front end package.json for available npm commands. Save that. And because it looks like we've done some good work here, I could even just say it's already running. It's already running. And then just tell it to check off completed items in the implementation plan. And that way we can see what we've worked on. Okay, so it's telling me it's installed that, it's created the schema definition, it's set up the React integration, it's created the hooks, and that looks really good. And if I would go to the file, the implementation have successfully, here's what's been completed. It didn't actually update the plan, so I'll say update the implementation plan document. So now it's actually reading that document and then hopefully update it as well. Yep, let's go ahead and make those changes. And we can see that it's gone on and checked. It's created the basic layout, the detailed view, the TinyBase is all done. And it's done some of the synchronization logic as well. Checked off the data layer. I did not have to do this. And even though it said it's going to take a day or 7 days, 7 days, part of it is 50% complete. So that looks pretty sweet. I like that the total development time is not going to be actually 18 days like it predicted. And let's also say yes to actually editing the README file. And one thing that I did notice is it also told me that I could actually go around and play around with the application. So let's actually test the form and see how it's working. So if I go to the browser, here's our demo here. We can add a test subscription. It's not working. Something to look at. But at least I like the UI and the fact that it's working pretty well. Actually, trying this out and see how we can debug that is something that we can do in the next session. So we did quite a bit in this particular session. We're able to get the TinyBase all set up using Context7 to get us the latest information. We're also able to see Claude actually cycle through and fix some of those type check errors and update our implementation plan accordingly. So in the next session, we are going to be looking at debugging a little bit more as we continue working on this app. So hope you enjoyed this episode and join us again for the next one as we continue building with Claude Code.